All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about a really fascinating and honestly pretty controversial idea in education, the happy school. Now, it sounds amazing, right? But it makes us ask a really big question. What is school actually for? So, this is the question at the heart of it all. Is a happy student a prepared student? You'd think the answer would be a simple, obvious yes. But what if it's not that simple? What if the link between being happy right now and being prepared for the future is a little more complicated than we think? Okay, so first up, let's really unpack this whole concept of the happy school myth. It's an ideal that's become incredibly popular, and when you first hear about it, it's pretty easy to see why so many parents and educators are drawn to it. So, what do we actually mean by happy education? Well, at its core, it's an approach that puts student enjoyment and self-esteem front and center. The main idea is to create a learning environment that protects students from things like stress, failure, and general discomfort. And you can totally see the appeal, right? I mean, the goals here are fantastic. It's all about fostering a genuine love of learning, building up a kid's self-esteem, and cutting down on all that anxiety. It's about making a safe space where creativity can just happen without any fear. These are all wonderful, well-meaning goals. But, and you knew there was a but coming, now we have to bring in a little dose of reality, because the main argument we're exploring today really challenges this entire philosophy. And here is that challenge framed as a question. What if all this protection, all this shielding from discomfort, actually comes at a pretty high cost? A cost to a student's ability to handle the real world down the line? This is the core claim from our source material today. Let's just let that sink in for a second. Happy education is not real education. Wow, that's a powerful and, let's be honest, a very provocative statement. The argument is that by helping kids avoid the negative aspects of life, we might not be educating them at all. So that immediately makes you wonder, okay, what are we talking about here? What exactly are these so-called negative aspects of life that a real education is supposed to teach? Well, we're talking about the stuff that's just part of being human. Things like failing at something and then figuring out how to learn from it, or getting constructive criticism and not falling apart. It's about navigating tricky social situations or even just dealing with being frustrated or bored. These aren't just negatives we should avoid, they're actually how we grow and build character. And this brings us right to the heart of the whole debate. See, it isn't really about being happy versus unhappy. It's about something much deeper. It's about the fundamental goal of education itself. Are we trying to protect our kids, or are we trying to prepare them? Let's break down these two models side by side. The protection model, on the one hand, sees school as a kind of refuge. It's a safe space designed to shield students from failure and discomfort. The preparation model, on the other hand, sees school as more of a rehearsal for life. It's a place to build resilience by facing challenges and, yeah, even by failing, because those are seen as crucial learning tools. You could even say it's a difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Now, it is so important to be clear about this. The argument for a real education is not about trying to make students miserable. That is absolutely not the point. The real goal is to make them resilient. It's about giving them the tools to handle the ups and downs of life so that they can build a genuine, lasting kind of happiness and success for themselves on their own terms. Ultimately, when you get right down to it, this whole conversation forces us to think about one of the biggest questions there is. What do we as a society actually believe education is for? Because really, your answer to that question shapes everything. What we expect from our schools, what we expect from our teachers, and what we expect from our students. And so I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Should school be a rehearsal for life, preparing students for all the messy, complex challenges they will absolutely face? Or should it be a refuge, a place that shields them from those very same things? There's no easy answer, for sure, but it's definitely a question worth thinking about. Thanks for joining this explainer.